Hey everyone, it's Advent of Cyber Day 12. Very exciting. We're halfway there. If you've made it this far, congratulations. If you haven't, I trust you will. Um, I'm Melmos, or Mel. You might have seen some of my rooms. They focus on DevSecOps content. And today I'm really excited because we're going to be learning about defense and death methodologies. And we're going to be using Jenkins, which is a pretty cool automation tool. All right, so today's challenge is called Slaying Threats One Layer at a Time, and it's defense in depth. With the chaos of the recent merger, the company's security landscape has turned into the Wild West. Servers and endpoints, once considered fortresses, now resemble neglected outposts on the frontier, vulnerable to any attacker. As Matt Honeywell sifts through the reports, a sense of urgency gnaws at her. This is a ticking bomb, she mutters to herself. It's clear they need a strategy, and fast. Determined, Matt Honeywell rises from her chair, her mind racing with possibilities. Time to suit up, team. We're going deep, she declares, her tone a blend of resolve and excitement. Defense in death isn't just a strategy, it's our lifeline. We're going to fortify every layer, from the physical servers in the basement to the cloud floating above us. Every byte, every bit. Ooh. Right. It's pretty intense. So in this task, we will be hopping into Matt Honeywell's shoes and exploring how defense and death strategy can help strengthen the environment overall security posture. Pretty cool. All right, so we're gonna be learning about defense and death, basic endpoint hardening, and simple boot to root methodology. All right, before we start, let's make sure we have everything set up and our environment is ready. We're gonna need an attack box today. I'll start in a second. We need a VM, which I'm gonna start right now. We can use a split screen. There's no direct link. We're gonna be using credentials to access the machine. Right, let's just give it a second, a few minutes for the machines to boot up, and then we should be ready to go. Let's just quickly check that we have everything booted up. So we're gonna need two machines. One is for the attacker and one is for the server administrator. Click the start machine button, which we've done already, and it should be loaded now. A couple of minutes have passed. And this is gonna serve as the admin point of view. And then we're gonna need one for the attacker's perspective, which is gonna be the attack box. The idea is that we're gonna implement hardening practices through the server admin one. Okay, we've already booted up the attack box and the machine, so we're good to go. Log into the admin account via SSH using the credentials supplied below. You can do this in the attack box by entering the command SSH admin at the IP address of the machine. Cool. Let's just get a terminal up and let's log in. So let's add the IP of the machine, which is 1010.56.150. All right, let's log in. So the credentials are right there in the scorecard. Username is admin and password is super strong password. 1, 2, 3. You're gonna know that the machines are ready when you're able to connect via SSH to the server, which we've done. It says admin at Jenkins, so we're all set up. All right, cool, let's start. Guided walkthrough of the attack chain. So as discussed earlier, we're dealing with a server that is vulnerable by design. It contains misconfigurations and has been implemented with poor or simply non-existent security practices. This part of the task will walk you through one of the many ways we can get elevated privileges on the server. Okay, some nice escalation to start the task. Skipping the enumeration part, we can access Jenkins via Firefox on its default port. You should be greeted with a page that looked like this. Okay, let's log in through the browser then. active resto. Wait a second. Is that a Dragon Ball reference? Is that a scouter? Anyways, back to the video. Let's navigate to the Jenkins server. Okay, no logging in, no prompts. I like it, straight to the point. So it's pretty similar. I guess that's what we're expected to see. Right, getting a web shell. So we instantly gain access to the general workings of Jenkins. Yes, we did. Explore the features that we can play with, and you'll see that there's a way to execute arbitrary scripts for administrator / troubleshooting / diagnostics on the machine. On checking this further, you'll see that this can be used to spawn a web shell. Click on the Manage Jenkins button on the left side of the page, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see the option we want, Script Console. All right, click on Manage Jenkins, scroll to the bottom, and Script Console. Here we go. Okay. Type in an arbitrary Groovy script and execute it on the server. Groovy, that's Java. That's for concurrency. And execute it on the server, useful for troubleshooting and diagnostics. Of course, that's exactly what we're going to be using it for. A script console is a feature that accepts Groovy, which is a type of programming language for the Java platform. Let's jump straight in and try to establish a reverse shell using this feature. So I guess we're going to be using this script. Let's see what this script does. So this is a Groovy reverse shell script. Okay, so we have string host, which this specifies the IP address of the attacking machine, which is going to be the attack box. We then specify the port on which the attacking machine is listening for connections. Then we're going to execute this command to run a bash shell. And then this process P. Okay, so we're creating a process to establish a socket connection. So this new socket establishes a socket connection to the attacking machine, I believe. Input stream and output stream. So I guess this receives input streams for the process and the socket, and then the output retrieves output streams for the process and the socket as well. Then we have a while here, which seems like a data transfer loop. So this is going to initiate a while loop that continues as long as the socket connection is open. And then it reads from the process input stream, which is the one we mentioned before. What else is here? Reads from the process input stream and writes to the socket output stream. Okay, so this is your like typical data transfer loop, it seems. And then at the end we have a thread.sleep, and then catch exception, destroy, close. So this I guess exits. If it's successful, it breaks out of the loop, and then it p.destroy as close destroys the process and closes the socket, sort of. Okay, let's try this and see what it does. Okay. Whoop. All right, so that's it there. All right, before I do anything, let's just keep reading. Copy the script above and paste it into the script console text box. Remember to change the host value for the attacking machine IP. Yes. So the attack box IP 10 10 150 91 10.10 150.91. It's in the corner, the top right corner there. Okay, copy the script above and paste it into the script console text box. Remember to change the host value to your attacking machine's IP. If you're not using the attack box, then this is the machine that you're using. So if you did the OpenVPN setup, it's your machine's IP. Open a new terminal and set up a netcat listener using this command. Okay, let's do this. Netcat NVOP, and then the port that we specified in the Groovy script. Both the reverse shell script and the netcat listener are ready. You can press the run button at the bottom. Okay, you should see an established connection in your attacking terminal, and you can test the shell by sending some typical Linux commands, such as ID and who am I? Who am I? Okay, so it's listening. We can run it now. Nope. Let's hit run. Let's see what happens. All right, I see it's been received. Something is happening. Once both the reverse shell script, you should see an established connection in your attacking terminal, and this is a successful reverse shell, so we can see that it's been received. Okay, let's test the commands. So like, who am I? I am Jenkins. Getting the Tracy user and root. Okay, next section. All right, so now that we have a web shell with the Jenkins user, we can explore the server's contents for things that we can use to improve our shell and perhaps elevate our privileges. Okay, so check the usual folders. You'll be able to find an interesting bash script file in the opt scripts folder named backup.sh. Check the contents of the file. Okay, so let's find this file. Or not. Let's just go to the directory directly. So if I go to opt scripts, I'm here. There should be a folder. There should be a script in this folder called backup.sh. Okay, there it is. Let's do cats to check the contents. Can do tab to autocomplete. Okay, so we have username Tracy, the password. Right. We have a password now. I feel like this has to be part of the questions, which I should have done at the beginning. Oh, port for Jenkins. That was given to us at the beginning in the URL, so it's 8080. What is the password for user Tracy? We have this. It's 13_in33. 13_1n33. Okay, then it's asking for a root flag. What is the error message when you log in as Tracy again and try sudo l? What's the SSH flag? What's the Jenkins flag? Okay, and then if you enjoyed this room, please check out SOC Level 1 Learning Path. You'll find a simple implementation of backing up the essential components of Jenkins and then sending it to the folder home/tracy/backups via SSP. The file also contains the credentials of the user Tracy. If we take a look at the script, it's making a directory called backup. Just copying some of the content. So yeah, just like the walkthrough says, like it's creating a backup of Jenkins related files and directories. It's compressing it into a tarball here, and then it's transferring the tarball to a specified remote server using SSB, and then it's cleaning up here. It's doing a bit of a cleanup of the temporary backup files on the local Jenkins server. The file also contains credential. The sp command is a clue that SSH may be used on the server. If so, we can use it to upgrade our user and shell. Open a new terminal and log in via SSH using the command SSH Tracy 10.10.125 234. Okay, so let's try and logging as Tracy at 10.10.125.234. Okay. Enter the password and prompt, which we got earlier. It's this thing. Okay, we're in. Just quickly check who we are. We are Tracy. We can do sudo L to find out what commands the user is permitted to perform using sudo. Okay, let's check that real quick. Sudo list. User Tracy may run the following commands on Jenkins. We can run all of them. Great. The all line in the output essentially says that all commands can be performed by Tracy using sudo. So this means that the user is created with inherently privileged access. So let's become root by using the command sudo su. And we are root. Next section, defense in depth and its role in hardening. From the attacking point of view, we were able to get straightforward root access to the server. This is bad news for defenders since the goal is to make it as hard for the attackers as soon as possible to get what they want. In the next section of this task, we will establish the defensive layers that aim to work together. Okay, so we're going to be doing some hardening. Let's start with the hardening section. Going back to our attack exercise from earlier, we discovered that root is very easy to achieve because there is full trust within the server environment. I guess we're going to start by removing Tracy from the sudo group. We should always follow the principle of least privilege, which is ensure that users have just the right amount of permissions they need. No more, no less. So in this case, Tracy doesn't really need to be able to run all of the commands. The user Tracy is made in such a way that it has the same permissions as the admin. This gives the user more flexibility. However, it also runs the risk of misuse not only by the owner of the account, but also by others who gain access to this account, as we did. Right, so let's remove Tracy from the sudo group. We can use the sudo delete user Tracy sudo. So let's run that. Okay, so we're removing Tracy from the sudo group. Done. Nice. To confirm removal from the sudo groups, let's use sudo -l-u Tracy. So let's list the command that the user Tracy can run. And user Tracy is not allowed to run sudo on Jenkins. Okay, so we've been removed. We as Tracy impersonators cannot run all of the commands anymore. Changes to the Tracy account won't affect her in active sessions, so we can test them by logging in again as Tracy on a new terminal on our attacking machine. Okay. Let's try and log in again. This is Tracy. Yeah, and the Tracy password was this thing. Let's copy that again. Paste. We're in. All right, let's try become sudo again. See if that works. Nope, we can't. Now the attacker is left with 3 immediate options. Further enumerate the server for a possible root to root within the user Tracy. Find a way to move laterally within the system to a user with a possible root to root access, or find a different target. hardening SSH. The path to root has been made more complicated for the attacker, but that doesn't mean we should stop here. Attackers can be very creative in finding all sorts of ways to accomplish privilege escalation. Any additional layers will make it a lot harder for the bad guys to achieve their objectives. Remember that as attackers, we were able to use SSH in this server to move laterally from a lower level user. So we previously were Jenkins and now we're Tracy. In light of this, we can disable password-based SSH logging so that we can thwart the possibility of an SSH login via compromised plain text credentials that could be laying around, just like the ones we found. So back to the admin shell, let's go to the SSH config file and let's edit it with favorite text editor. Find the line that says password authentication yes and change it to password authentication no. Remove the hash sign and change yes to no. Next, find the line that says include the *conf and change it to include. It's commenting out the line. For us to edit the SSHD config file, we need to do it in the admin shell. So we were given the credentials earlier at the beginning. So it was SSH admin at 10.10.125.234. And the password was super strong password 123. Yeah, cool. So let's go ahead and edit the file. Sudo vim tc dconfig. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the password authentication line. Let's add the numbers actually. Okay, we can see the line numbers now. Password authentication. And that's line 57. So let's go ahead and change that to no. 57. There it is. Let's change this to no. And then the other one was the include line with the capital I. There it is. So it's line 12. Let's go ahead and jump to line 12. Okay. And comment that out. Right. Anything else we needed to do? Nope, that's pretty much it. All right, so we can now go ahead and write this file out with the changes. Let's do the system control restart command to restart SSH, and the changes can be applied after that. All right, should be good to go. Okay, let's move on. So in the example below, the egrep command shows what the lines within the file should look like. You can use the same command to see if you have successfully edited the file. You should see the effect immediately when you log out of Tracy in your attacking machine and try logging in via SSH. Okay, so let's test this out to see if we did write the changes correctly and they were applied. So let's run the egrep command here. And we can see that it is commented out the line, so it's not being used. See, you always have to check your lines. It was line 57, I believe. All right, let's just quickly remove this. Should be good to go now. Yeah, cool. I should have done that before restarting the SSH server, but let's check if Tracy can connect, can authenticate. Great, it worked. So we can no longer attempt to authenticate with password. Let's keep reading. It's worth noting that applying this hardening step assumes that there are no other ways for users to log into the system, admin account included, and it usually involves the setup of passwordless SSH login. However, for our purposes, we can opt not to do that anymore. Right, before we go into the next section, we're almost in the finish line. Let's just check for the flags again. What's the root flag? Okay. Is there something fishy around here? Let's see what's inside the root. I forgot to become sudo. Oh, there you go. So the flag is here. Let's do cat for the flag. .txt. Easy root. Okay, this should be it. Nice. Okay. What is the error message when you log in as Tracy again and try sudo after its removal from the sudoers group? Oh snap. I did that earlier. No worries. If you've locked out Tracy and can no longer SSH using credentials to her user, or you don't have access to your history, you can always take advantage of the admin session and switch users. Do switch user Tracy, and password is this. Paste. And we're back to being Tracy. So if we run any sudo command, we get the output there. Sorry, user Tracy may not run sudo on Jenkins. Let's try that. There you go. Nice. Wonderful. We just completed question 4 there. Before we carry on with the last 2 questions, let's go back to the content and pick up where we left off. To recap, we just removed Tracy from the sudo group and removed password authentication via SSH. The next section is stronger password policies. Another pivot point emphasized in our attack exercise earlier was the plaintext password discovery that led to the SSH access to a higher privileged user. 2 immediate things are apparent here. First one is the password is weak and may be susceptible to a brute force attack. And second, the user employed bad password practices, putting plaintext credentials on a script and leaving it laying around for anyone with server access to see. We can apply a stronger password policy requiring the user to change their password and make it compliant on their next login. However, it's solely up to the user to prevent bad password practices. Plaintext credentials, despite following a strong password policy, may still be used to move laterally with the web shell access that we got initially. Care really should be exercised when dealing with secrets, especially ones that belong to highly privileged accounts. Great advice. Next section, promoting zero trust. Once we've applied all of the hardening steps discussed, you'll notice that we're able to patch many of the vulnerabilities that we initially exploited to get to root, which is the methodology we discussed earlier. We're back in the web shell that served as our initial foothold in the system, and it's accessible as a result of Jenkins implementation that assumes full trust within the environment. So yeah, we can just show up to the server at the moment. It's fitting that the last hardening step we apply in the server is one that promotes zero trust. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be adding an authorization strategy in this section. In the admin terminal, proceed to Jenkins home directory using the command cd var live jenkins. let's go to the Jenkins directory. Var lib Jenkins. You will see two versions of the Jenkins config file, config.xml and config.xml back. The administrator kept up a backup of the original configuration file before implementing the current one. As such, it would be more straightforward for us to revert it back to the original by removing the comments in the XML file. For reference, the comment syntax is signified by exclamation point dash dash, and right before the closing bracket. Anything in between is commented out. Great. Using your favorite text editor, let's go ahead and edit config.xml.back. There should be config.xml back. There it is. Let's add lines so we can see the numbers. And we're looking for authorization strategy, which is actually right there, is line 10. Let's jump straight there and remove the comments section. I also see there's full trust has no place in security here, which looks like a flag. Okay. Great, let's remove the config file. And now we can copy the one we just wrote to a new one. Forgot sudo again. All right, before we continue, let's check for syntax errors. Make sure you do the check after you copy the config.xml backup file to the config file. Let's copy the command. That looks about right. Right, let's do a system restart, system control, restart Jenkins server. This way we can apply the changes we just made to the configuration file. So before that, we could just access the server, and we should be seeing a logging page like the one in the image. Let's just reload the page now. And there it is. We now need to provide credentials to be able to access the Jenkins service. Great. Before jumping into conclusions, we just saw a flag there that we should probably pick up and check if it's one of the questions, which I'm guessing it is. Yeah, so we have two remaining. What's the SSH flag and what's a Jenkins flag? I'm assuming the one we just saw is the Jenkins flag. So if we open the config file again, and we search, oh no, actually it's right there. So full trust has no place in security. Let's pick that one up. See if it matches. Great, that's the Jenkins flag there. The last one is the SSH flag. Let's check the hint. Surely you wouldn't miss that in the SSH config file, which I totally did miss. This is the config file we saw earlier. So if we go to the config section, this was in the etc SSH and do search for the flag. Password authentication, no, that's the one we changed. That's the line we changed earlier, and there it is. Need to secure the secure shell. Let's pick that up. Great, that's all flags found. Let's finalize with the conclusion and epilogue. Conclusion. Defensive layers don't need to be flashy. You can accomplish a lot with one-liners and simple implementations of security best practices. This is exactly what we have done throughout this task, addressing a specific exploitable vulnerability each time. This task is a simple demonstration of how it works in the real world. Each hardening step adds a defensive layer, and these layers work together to make a more defensible environment. Exploit one or two, and you're still relatively defensible. That's because the next layer is there to make it harder for the bad actors to succeed in getting what they want. Defense in depth doesn't stop here, though. The next step is setting up tools and sensors that would give your defensive teams visibility over your environment, the output of which can be used to create an automated detection mechanism for suspicious behavior. But that's a discussion for another time. Really good lessons there. Back to the story. Great work, team, says McConnie Bell, her eyes gleaming with pride. We've laid down the foundations of our robust defense, but remember, this is just the beginning. The cyber world is ever evolving, and so must we. Stay sharp, stay curious. The team nods, a sense of accomplishment and readiness evident in their postures. They are no longer just reacting, they are anticipating, ready to tackle whatever challenges lay ahead in the ever-changing cyber terrain. McConnie Bell grabs her jacket. Her thoughts are ready on the next challenge. Tomorrow, we rise again. For now, rest well, team. You've earned it. Awesome. Very fun challenge. Just a note here, if you enjoyed this room, please check out the SOC Level 1 learning path. Great learning path as well. I hope you've enjoyed today's challenge and walkthrough. Stay tuned for day 13, and happy hacking and happy holidays.